Ois Gimel. V'ato yuvon pirush ha-posik kol doidi hine zabo medaleg ala horim chulu. So now he explained all the ideas of the hamshoche that were mamshich milomailo in a way of beyond level of seviv kol almim. So now we understand the pasuk, the meaning. It says kol doidi hine zabo. The voice of my beloved is coming. That's the hamshocha. The hamshocha from doidi. But it's coming from such a high place that medalig ala horim chulu. It jumps over. It goes not in a orderly fashion. An orderly fashion comes down in ishtalshlus. This is medalig ala horim, which took place at the time of the exodus of Egypt. Koyi al yitzias mitzrayim chulu. This goes on the exodus of Egypt. Then it was this medalig ala horim. Pirush. In the language of the pasuk, when it says the word koil, koil means the voice means hamshocha. That is not necessarily a physical voice, which would be the level of speech that is physical. That's also a hamshocha from inside to bring out in the dibur. That is not the koil that we're referring to over here, a physical koil. Because on the contrary, that's not the real koil. The adrab zeh nikra koil zuta. That's called the small voice, which is shenimshach min hadibur el heimat shenimshach min hamidos el hadibur heimat pechulu. That is which extends from the level of the midos into the speech, which is the hey moitzois hapechulu, the 5 expression that come through the mouth. That's the koil zuta. Yes, koil godel v'lo yosef, but there is the great voice, the big voice, v'lo yosef, the koil godel that doesn't stop. Ainu v'chinas kolo pnimo v'lo yishtamed. That is an inner voice. That's not like a koil gashmi, a chitzoni kedibur. This is an inner voice that cannot be heard. The small voice is nikra kolodishtama. That's called a voice that is heard. But the big voice that we're talking about before, who kolo the loy ishtama, that's a voice that is not heard. Because I mean kol godel barabis yisrei soy parshach of ches v'soy parshach of tes. In Bamidbar Rabba soy parshas bolach soy daf reish ayin tes. Ubezoyar chelik aleph. In Bereshis daf nun omid beis and daf reish yud omid aleph. And in chelik beis an kuf lamed zayin omid aleph. And chelik gimel daf reish samach aleph aleph. Va'ayin mashekosu me'inyan koil soy divra maschal aboim yashresh ubedivra maschal chol amroim. Udivra mascha kol kil Yaakov, udivra mascha hi kol mal rekia, udivra mascha mesh yidaber, ubeinyan also mehedu yishoma kil chosum kil kalchul. Okay. V'hainu bichinas hamshocha mehelem elagili. This is the hamshocha from obscurity to revelation that we have in the koil gadol. Hainu min haseichel el hamidus. That is from Seichel to Midos. The koil zuta is from Midos to dibur. That's the koil zuta. But the koil gadol is from moichin to midas, from the seichel to midas. Or another way, not only from moichin to midas, el haseichel milmailo min haseichel, or hamshocha to seichel to the moichin from above the seichel. Shenimshach hakoil mehelem el hagilui. Everything that extends from the hidden to the revelation, nikra koil b'chinas hamshocha. It's called koil. It's a level of hamshocha, drawing down to bringing down. Ukmekein hukan. The same thing is over here. When we say koil doidi, same thing here. What happens over here by Matan Torah? Shanigla aleihem melech kulu malcham lochim, that there is a revelation. That's the koil. This is aha ore gedoilo. This is a great shine shalamayla mishtalshlus. A great aha ore, which is higher than ishtalshlus. This is muhusev atzmus chulu nikra gamke b'chinas koil. That also is called the level of a koil, which is hamshocha mehelam el agili. It's nimshach from hidden to revealed. Upirush hine zeba. So what do you mean koil doidi hine zeba? What is the meaning of zeba? Ayim ashekosu lekamon beinyan ligata levincha chul b'avar zachul. So that's the idea of koil. What is medalig ala horim? Jumping over the mountains. Shabechinas ha'ore gedoyla v'gilu zeh, that this great shine that comes for the level of this revelation, bo aleihem derech dilug, it comes upon them, upon the Yidden, in a way of jumping over. Beloy kiseder ishtalshalus, and not in an orderly way. Shu derech ila ve'olul, which would be a ishtalshalus, would be a way of an ila and ola, cause and effect. It would be a gradual descent, which is sheyesh erech v'shaychus zelozeh, that there is a connection to one to another. That would be not dilug, that would be hishtalshus. Just as for example, so let's see from our own flesh, from our physical, we can see that speech comes from machshava, umachshava comes mimidos, and machshava comes from the emotions. Umidos miseichel, and the emotion come from the seichel. Kol zen nikra b'chinas hishtalshelus chulu. All this is called an order, a level of hishtalshelus, because it is gradual from one level to the next level. But here we're talking about medalig Allahorim, jumping over. But this revelation that came to them at the time of going out of Egypt, in which the king was revealed, that is mibechinas hu shmoi levad, from the level where Hashem and His name is alone, which is shalamaylo mihishtalshlus, which is higher than ishtalshlus. And such a kind of array that cannot come down in a way of hishtalshlus, rak derech dilug, only in the way of a jumping, a way to jump over. Moyal derech moshul, say as for example, echod shemedalig mahar lahar acher. A person jumps from one mountain to another mountain which is distant from him. Rak derech dilug yochel ledalig olav chulu. A person cannot go there. The only way to reach the other mountain is by jumping over. In a way of a jump over, yochel ledalig olav chulu. Then he can jump over. That means something which is far, you need to jump in order to get to the other mountain. So likewise happened over here. Nigla aleihem bechinas va'ora gedola kazum milmayla lamato. For them was revealed such a level and such a great shine from above to below. Lefishaloi erkom. Not according to their comparison, which means a much greater light than they can handle. It was derech dilug in a way of a jump over. It is loy erkom. It's not in the order. It's not in the relationship to that. It jumped over. It came derech dilug. And this is what the Chazal tell us. Godel says the Eibishter came with a great moira. It says Zegilu Shchina. That is the revelation of the divine. So that means Hainu. That means Sheniglo Aleihem Bechinas Melech. That it was revealed to them the level of Melech, which is the Bechina of Hu Ushmoi Bilvad, the level of Hu Ushmoi Bilvad. And Viniglo Aleihem Begilu Kolkach, and it was revealed to them in such a great revelation, to the extent that upon them fell this great fear and the dread before Hashem. The pasuk says, "Oy haniso elikim lovei lokachas loy goy mikerav goy chulu." Did the Eibishter elikim try to take out a nation from a nation? That whole idea is an idea of that brings the level of pachad, because this was the Eibishter taking a nation, bringing them that higher level into the Ishtalshalos. So that's the koil doidim medalig alahorim. There's another medalig alahorim, also as interpreted b'zchus horim. He jumps alahorim, on the mountains, which means on the fathers, based on their merits, b'zchus horim, in the merit of the horim. Hainu avis. That's written in the Gemara in Perikama the Rosh Hashanah Daf Yud Aleph Amud Aleph. B'medrash Moshe Rabba Parsha Tezvav. What does it mean here, the Avis? The Avis is actually referencing the levels of the midas of Chesed, Gura, and Tiferes represented by Avram, Yitzchok, and Yaakov, the Avis. Is medalig alahor b'hainu. So ayidei Pesach matzu morer sha'ochlu, through eating the Pesach matzu morer sheheim pinas gimel kavin, which is the level of the three lines Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, the three different services of Hashem in a way of Chesed, Gvura, and Rachamim. So they were waking up above the great supreme levels, which is Shehema, Avram, Yitzchok, Yaakov, Midas Da'atzilus, which is Avram, Yitzchok, Yaakov. Those are the Horim, the Midas Da'atzilus. So they are the cause. They help Val Yodom, and through them, Hoya B'chinas Diluk. That is brought about the level of Diluk, B'chinas, which is the level of Benigla, and the level of Medalig al Hahorim, all the level of jumping over. That came through the Horim, through the Avodah of Pesach Matzah Morer, the three Avodas, which is the Chesed Gvura Tiferes, as he explained earlier in the Maimon. Hine, Shir Hashimim Mamer b'Lashoin Diluk. In Shir Hashimim, he uses the language of Diluk, to jump over, when he wants to say jump over. But Ubat Torah Nikro b'Lashoin Pesach, but in the Torah we call it Posach, also jumped over. What's the difference between Diluk and Pesach? But as we see, the Pasuk refers to Moshe Kosuvu, Pasach Hashem al HaPesach. And God will jump over on the door. He says that they'll put the blood on the doorpost and Hashem will jump over. So what is the difference? This is also the idea of jumping and going over. So what's the difference between Dilug and Pesach? But there's another difference, because by Pesach it says Uposach Hashem al HaPesach, so it says a distinct area, where over here it just says Kol Doidi Medalig, jumping. It says al HaHorim, but it doesn't describe the schus of the Horim or level of Diluk, but so that is also the difference. In the Torah it says where they jumped. The Hainu al HaPesach, that was on the Pesach, that was the jump. What is Pesach? Hainu b'chinas Malchus. That's the level of Malchus. Ze hashar l'Hashem chulu. That's the gateway to Hashem. Is Malchus. Malchus is the gateway of Atzilus. Everything to Hashem and Atzilus comes through the gateway through Malchus. So the jump, the Dilug, was till the level of Malchus. The Reishis Chochma, Yiras Hashem. The first of Chochma is the Yiras Hashem. The first jump is Malchus. That's called Chochma Tato, the lower level of Chochma, the Chochma which is in Malchus. That's the Yiras Hashem. That's the gateway, Hashem. B'hainu b'chinas Malchus anikra Malchus kol elomim. We learned before there's level of Malchus and there's level of Malchus kol elomim. Level of Malchus is the level of Hoyu Shmei Bilvat. The level of Malchus kol elomim, that's Nimshech into Biyah. So that's the level, the first two Malchus, that's his Malchus kol elomim. Because Sheyoredes Lachis kol elomim, it descends to vitalize all the worlds. Benigla bechinas melech ulu ora gedola now, and the level of melech, the level of hu shmoi levad, which is the great haore that came down bechinas malchus. Al haPesach, uPosach al haPesach, he came to the level of malchus. Hainu begilu shenikra Pesach echulu. In the revelation, which is called the entrance over there. So that over there can be the level of Moira Godel, Hashem, that there should be the dread and the fear from Hashem in that level. That's the gate, beginning. Zeu hascholas havoido. That is the beginning, it's level of Yira. The thing is, in that case, the level of Yira had the influence and the impact from the level of Melech Malcham Loch. So this was the talk of the level, beginning level of Yira. This level was ha'ora mibechinas melechu shmeichulu. That was a shine from the level of melech hu shmei bilvad that came down into the level of malchus, into the Pesach, into the Zeh HaShar. And this is the great moira because it has the level of the higher level melech. Zehu upasach Hashem al haPesach, and this is Hashem jumps over onto the Pesach. Shenigla aleim b'chinas Pesach, that it was revealed to them in the level of Pesach, into the level of Malchus. Ba'ayin b'parshas Amer daf tzadik hey amad aleph b'pirush pischili. But the Shir Hashimim loy nemar le'eze mokem hoya hadiluk. Over there it doesn't say where it jumped. It doesn't say where it jumped. It says alahorim how it jumped. Raknish parish be'eze oifen hoya hadiluk. How? What way was the jump? Which is hainu alahorim bedalig alahorim. It has two meanings. Either al-hahorim, meaning aleph al-hahorim, one meaning on the mountains, bizchusom. That means in their merit of the Oves canal. B'habeis al-hahorim is l'maylo mi'han-hahorim. That's even higher than the mountains, which is Sheheim, the mountains are midis da Atzilus. That's the motion of Atzilus. That we don't. And this was al hahorim. That sha'ora hanal hoya l'mayla mehen. That this ha'ora was higher than the midis. The hainu b'chinas melechulu, which was the level of melech, the higher level of hu shmei bilvad. And the pasuk continues mekapitz al hagavois. He jumps the mountains, but he jumps on the hills. Amr Azal and our sages tell us that Gavois, Heimimois, those are the mothers. To understand this. So over here we use the lotion of medalig and mekapitz. They both seem to be jumping, but this is called medalig. By the horim, by the oves, we use the word medalig, and by the imois, by the gavois, by the hills, we use the words mekapitz. So to understand this, hinei ha'hefresh ben dilug lekvitzahu. What is the difference between dilug and kefitza, the two languages that refer to jumping? Who the difference is ki dilug beregel achad. Jumping with dilug, when it says it means with 1 foot. Or kefitza, and when it says kefitza is bebeis raglayim, that is with 2 feet. Mevuer b'mishnah perik ches da'aholis, as the Mishnah in the 8th chapter of all, it says. Over there it says, "V'hadoileg mimokim lemokim." One who jumps from a place to place, that's with 1 foot. And then it says, "V'hakoifetz mimokim lemokim." It says, "Ayin shom bepirush Rabbeinu Avadya mibar Tanura, bepirush HaMishnayos leHarambam, v'gam b'Yerushalmi perik hey debate." So it says, "Kipputz" means oiker shtei raglov ka'achas. You raise, you write, you pick up, you uproot both feet together, you leave both the ground together. That's koifetz. So to understand this, the hine, so kol bechinas dilug ba'ha'ora gedola sheba milmaylo. Every time when we have a level of jumping and a great shine that comes from above, can only come down into the level of the feet, comes to the regular. This is the rule in every revelation, Ein niglo ki im bechinas raglaim. It comes down to the level of raglaim. As the pasuk says, "Amdu raglo b'yom hahu ulu," or "V'haaretz hadoim ragloi." That's where it comes down level of raglo. How you dance is also with the feet before the kala. Over there also it says sholosh regolim, all to do with the regel. The yesh beis bechinas raglai. So we have 2 feet. So there's 2 levels of raglai. Hainu beis bechinas giliv ha'oram. There's 2 levels in this level of the above mentioned revelation ha'oram. Yeah, bechinas kav hayimin and the kav ha'smol. You have the right side and the left side, which is bechinas ava v'yira, which is the level of love and fear. So, behine alidei hahorim, through the mountains, which is Aves Hanal, which is the above mentioned Aves. Hoyanigla aleyem horanal rag bechinas ahava. Over there was only in a level of Abba with 1 foot, 1 direction, 1 side, the level of Abba. The level of Yiminei Techabkeni, that his right hand hugs me. That was the level of the Ovis brought down. Zo medalig beregel achatz ala horim Ovis. This is medalig, which means beregel achatz ala horim. On the horim, meaning on the Ovis, which is the Ovis. Then you have umekapetz is ala gavois, which means on the hills, on the imohes, over there he jumps. That's bebeis raglayim. That's with both feet. That means Ainu shahoya gilizeh b'bechinas yidu b'meir gadol. That it came also out with the level of fear, with this great moira. And that was al hagavois elu imois, on the gavois, which is the mothers. So it turns out, according to this, that it was a greater revelation by the mothers, that over there it came down in both kavim in level of Abba V'yira, Moira Godel, as opposed to by the Ovis, it only came down in the level of Abba. It says, V'hinei, B'chinas Abba, B'nekul Yochel Loveli De Gilui M'B'chinas Yira. It is easier to get the level of Ava to come out and revealed easier than the level of Yira. You can see it in, practically speaking, Shekolodom Yochel Li Spoil B'chinas Ava Korega. Any person can become excited, affected by instantly. The level of Ava can come immediately. But in the level of fear, it doesn't happen so fast. The level of Yira Iloh is higher than the level of Ava in this level. So he's going to ask, so how come the Avis only brought down the level, the lower level, the level of Ava, and it's the Imoes that brought down the higher level, the level of Yira, Ava Yira as well. And so we have a long parenthesis over here. V'ayin b'parshas mekates b'biur al posik yato neidi. So Vadiri explains Sha'ava Rabba that the great love, he bechinas hey ilah. That's the level of the Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, the upper level of the hey. But the Yira ilah, this higher level of Yira, he bechinas Yud Chulu. That's the level of Yud. So you see that the Yira law is the Yud, which is higher, comes before the Hey, which is the level of Ava. And even as we go up in a higher level, it's also higher. Yesh Turei Nahara v'Turei Chashoicha. We have the mountains of light and mountains of darkness. What is it? Pirush Turei Nahara. What is the light mountains? The mountains that are light. Heim Hamidos Shanim Shochim and Haseichel. Those are the emotions that come from, that extend, come from level of Seichel, which is Chagas des Eir Ampin, the Chesed Gvura Tiferes, the Midos of this Eir Ampin. That is the Turei Nahara, the light mountains. The Turei Chashoicha, what is the dark mountains that are dark? Those are the emotions that are higher than the Seichel, which is the level of Avarabba, which is Chagas de Arich Ampi. Those are the midas of Arich Ampi. V'zo inyan medalig al hahorim, that he jumps the mountains from the Turei Chashoicha to the Turei Nahara. Shenimshach, this is the idea of medalig al hahorim, jumps over the mountains, the two mountains. Shenimshach mebechinas Turei Chashoicha, that we extend from the dark mountain, Chagas the Arich Ampin, the Chagas the Zoh, into the Chesed Gvura Tiferes of Zoh. And this is also V'zehu Inyan Hahorim Roglu Ke'elim. The mountains were dancing like the Elim. That is Aliyas Chagas the Zoh. They are dancing, meaning that they're going up the level of Chesed Gvura Tiferes the Zoh, V'yiskalalusum, and their inclusion Begilu Eir Chagas Darech Ampin. U'kameshikosu b'mokam achar. And the way, so that's going up from the level of Turei Nahara into the Turei Chashoicha. Okay, Yira Ilo Shorsha b'moichas Timo. The supreme Yira is rooted in moichas Timo. She'im Gvura de Atik. That is from the level of Gvura of Atik. Meshikosu Al-Posik, Atoneri Hanal. There explains over there in Mamer, Ukumeshikosu Haramaz, Parshas Vayeshev Davkuf Ayin Tes Beis. And that is even on a higher level. And that's even higher than Chesed Gvura Tiferes Arich Ampin, that's the Gvura of Atik. Umishom Nimshach B'chinas Gilu Zeh B'meir Godel. And from there comes this revelation by God. Shu is galus yira ilo zu b'chinas yira tato. So that is the revelation of this supreme yira, which reveals itself in the lower level of yira, in the chagas, in the gevura of Zoh, animshach b'chinas malchus kol elamim, which comes from the level of Malchus Kol Elamim. He says Malchus Cho Animshach Mibchinas Malchus Kol Elamim. After it comes down to the level of Malchus, from the Malchus Kol Elamim, that's his galus of that high level of Yira from Moichas Timo, which is even higher than Chagas Varacham. Alzen Nemar. But this is written Uposach Hashem ala Pesach, up till the Malchus which comes down. So inyan mekapitz al hagavois, kapitz al hagavois, with both feet on the gavois, is bechinas kav hayemin v'kav al shmoel chulu, both lines, the right and the left. And further it says, "Chochma yosad eretz koinen shamayim bitvuna chulu." So basically, Chochma and Bina, Chochma is Eretz, and Shamayim is Bina, Bitvuna, and Shamayim Eretz. So Chochma creates Eretz, Shamayim is created by Tvuna, Shamayim Eretz. So B'chinas Ovis Ve'imois. So B'lochein, and that is why Yira Ilo Nimshach B'schus Imo is Daike. That's why it comes Dafke through the level of Imohis, through the level of Bina the Shemayim Ba'oretz. V'ayim Hashakosu Al-Posik Simani Kechoisam Be'inyan Isha Kisazri V'yol Zohar. Okay, this is a little bit more Kabbalic, and it's but for now we'll leave it over here, and